So, good morning, all of you. Today, our topic is structure of bacteria. In the previous class, we have seen about the morphology of bacteria. In that, we have seen the different types of bacteria. Some are in spherical shape, some are in rod shape, some are in comma shape, some are spiral, and their example is spirochetes and spirillum. And we can see these bacteria with the help of microscope. So inside the microscope, if we will see the Streptococcus pneumoniae, then it will look like this. Meningococcus will look like this. Streptococcus that occurs in the chain will look like this. Streptococcus, detailed diagram of Streptococcus. Staphylococcus, they are present in a group, so it look like this. Tetrad, if the bacteria are in tetrad shape, then it looks like this. Bacilli, some bacteria are of bacilli in shape. These are large bacilli, this is medium sized bacilli, and this is small shaped bacilli. Examples are Bacillus, Escherichia coli, and Brucella. Some more bacilli, corniform bacteria and Bifidobacterium. Vibrio coli are there, which is in comma shape. Spirillum and spirochetes. So all these structures or morphological classification we have seen in the previous class. Now we will see the structure of bacteria. So structure of bacteria, if we will look the structure of bacteria, then bacteria have a capsule, then cell wall, then cytoplasmic membrane, ribosomes are present, villi, flagella, nuclei, and cytoplasm. All these are the structure of bacteria. So if we will see the structure of bacteria, some are essential structure and some are other structures which will help the bacteria for the movement or for the protection, for the cell division. So today we will see the essential structure of bacteria. That will include nuclei, cytoplasm, cytoplasmic membrane, cell wall, and little bit about the capsules also we will see in the today's class. So first is the nucleoid. So nucleoid is the nuclear material. If we will, here is the example given of Neisseria gonorrhea. Here the organized feature of it, here the nucleoid structure is seen in less dense part, and where N is written, it is a nucleoid, and the dense structure, dense part is of ribosomes are present. So it is a structure of Neisseria gonorrhea that contain the nucleoid in the center part. So nucleoid is what? The nucleoid is a nuclear material or bacterial nucleoid contains a single double-stranded deoxyribonucleic acid. Deoxyribonucleic acid is a DNA. So it is a closed circular thread about 1 millimeter long, being condensed and looped into a supercoiled state. Number of copies of these chromosomes in a cell depends on the stage of the cell cycle, and only one in the some cells and other in the more than one cell because of cell division, or two or may be present. So nucleoid are generally one in on one cell. If it contains, if it is in a cell division, then we can see the two or more nucleoids are present. So it contains only a single chromosomes. It has no nuclear membrane, it has no nucleolus, and replicating by the growth and simple fission, not by the mitosis. Mitosis is a standard cell division method, but it's generally divided by a simple fission method. So nucleoid is nuclear material which is present in the bacterial cell. Cytoplasm. Cytoplasm of the bacterial cell is viscous, watery solution or soft gel containing a variety of organic or inorganic solutes, or numerous ribosomes are present. So cytoplasm is what? It is a liquidy solution. It is a liquid watery solution or a soft gel, or it contains variety of organic or inorganic solutes. It contains inclusion granules also, and it also contains plasmid also. Okay? So it's not contain. It is not containing endoplasmic reticulum, membrane bearing microsomes, and mitochondria. So all these things are absent in case of bacteria. So what are the contents of cytoplasm? It contains organic as well as inorganic solutes. Numerous ribosomes are there, inclusion granules are there, and plasmids are there. So if we see the ribosomes, so in case of prokaryote, 30 and 50S means 70S ribosomes are present in case of prokaryotes, while in eukaryotes 80S ribosomes are present. If we see the small as well as large subunit of ribosomes, then 30S is the smallest small subunit, and the 50S is a heavy subunit. Or ribosomes, what is the function of ribosomes? It's help in a protein synthesis. So it is a bigger unit and it is a smaller unit of ribosomes, and it helps in the protein synthesis inside the bacteria. And majority of the antibiotics, their mode of action is by the blocking this small subunit. Because of that, they can inhibit the bacterial protein synthesis. The antibiotics are streptomycin, amikacin, and kanamycin. All these are the antibiotics which will block the movement of ribosomes. Okay. So next is inclusion granules. Inclusion granules are also present in the cytoplasm. They are insoluble in nature, and they are osmotically inert, round, neutral polymer in the cytoplasm of bacteria. They are an excess metabolite stored as a nutrient reserve. So what is the purpose of inclusion granules present in the bacteria? Are to store energy nutrients inside the bacteria. Whenever they require energy, then inclusion granules will provide energy to the bacteria. So they are present in largest amount when the bacteria have access to a abundance of energy yielding nutrient, and if bacteria is in starving stage, then you will not see the inclusion granules inside the bacteria. So these are the energy surplus reservoirs which will provide energy to the bacteria. They consist of volutin granules. Volutin granules consist of phosphate type of molecules. Lipid granules are there, polysaccharide granules are there. So like that, many types of inclusions are present inside the bacteria. So these are the volutin granules, which are in 0.1 to 1 micrometer in diameter. They are characteristically found in the diphtheria bacillus. If you will stain the inclusion granules, then it will look like this. The red color structures are the inclusion granules. These are the stained cornybacterium cells, where you can see the red color is due to the staining of inclusion granules. Inside the cytoplasm, you will see the plasmids. So what is plasmids? Plasmids are the extracellular circular DNA present inside the cell. So these are extracellular DNA which are other than nuclear material of the bacteria. So this is the nuclear material of the bacteria, and this is the plasmid. Plasmids are the extracellular circular DNA present inside the bacteria. So plasmids are replicons. They can also replicate, and that are maintained as a discrete extra chromosomal genetic material in the bacteria. They are usually much smaller than bacterial chromosome. So this is the bacterial chromosome and this is plasmid. Okay, so this plasmid DNA is not essential for the bacteria, and it is not responsible for the viability of bacteria. But they can replicate independently, and they are supercoiled and double-stranded DNA molecules. In some bacteria, linear plasmids are also present. In example are Borrelia and Streptomyces. Next is cell membrane. Cell membrane is the membrane which is present outside the cytoplasm of bacteria. This is cytoplasm, and the covering of cytoplasm is called as cytoplasmic membrane or cell membrane. So cell membrane, you are seeing inside this structure, that is CM is cell membrane. Okay, and this is the diagram of Escherichia coli. If we see the detailed structure of cell membrane, then it is also called as plasma membrane also, and plasma membrane is well described by the fluid and mosaic model by Nelson and Singerson Singer model, and this plasma membrane consists of phospholipid bilayer. Phospholipids, you can see inside this plasma membrane, phospholipid bilayer is there, means polar heads are present outside and non-polar tails are present inside. You can see that some tails are seen inside this diagram, that is hydrophobic in nature, and polar heads are hydrophilic in nature. And inside plasma membrane, there are numerous types of protein. Three types of basically proteins are there. Some are present peripheral, so they are called as peripheral proteins. Some are present integral, these are called as integral protein, and some are transmembrane protein. They can move outside, inside, throughout the plasma membrane. So this is the basic structure of cell membrane, which consists of phospholipid bilayer as well as different types of proteins are there. So this is the polar head, and this is the tail structure of phospholipid molecules. So this is water insoluble fatty acid portion, and this is water soluble fatty acid. This is the water soluble hydrophilic portion. So function of the cell membrane is that it's selectively permeable to the various types of solutes, and it can help in the transport of solute material. It can help in electron transport and oxidative phosphorylation in the aerobic process. Excretion of hydrolytic exoenzymes will be from the cytoplasmic membrane only. Bearing the enzymes and the carrier molecules that function in the biosynthesis of DNA, cell wall polymer, and membrane lipids. And it also contains receptors and other proteins of a chemotactic and other sensory transduction system. So it helps as a receptor also for the various types of cell and other microorganisms purpose. Mesosomes. Mesosomes are the extra convoluted part of a cell membrane. If the extra projections inside the cytoplasm is there of a cell wall, then we can call it as a mesosomes. So mesosomes are the extra convoluted part or extra projection of a cell wall inside the bacteria. Okay. So mesosomes are convoluted and multilaminated membrane bodies visible in the electron microscope. This is the picture of electron microscope. They develop by a complex invagination of the cytoplasmic membrane into the cytoplasm. So basically it function, what is its function? Function is for the they help in the cell division process. So they form the compartment of DNA at the cell division, and at the time of sporulation also they can help. So mesosomes help in a cell division as well as in a sporulation process. So because the cell DNA, when cell division takes place, the cell DNA will join to these mesosomes, and when the cell division takes place, the cell DNA also divides. So having a function analogs to mitochondria of the eukaryotic cells, so they can also help in the energy driving process also, and provides it function as a mitochondria of the eukaryotic cells. They provide some respiratory enzymes also. So this is the basically a function of mesosomes. This is a mesosome, and cell chromosome or cell DNA attaches to the part of mesosome, and when the cell divides, the mesosomes also divide and cell DNA also divides, and finally two compartment of cell takes place, and cell DNA also divides with the help of mesosomes. Cell wall, we have previously what we have described the cell wall. The cell wall has the thickness of 10 to 25 nanometer thick, strong and relatively rigid, though some elasticity is there, and porous nature is also there. So outside the plasma membrane, cell wall is present. Okay, in the case of bacteria, we have previously seen the cell membrane. This is called cell membrane, and mesosomes are there. Outside the cell membrane, cell wall is present, and it is thick. Thickness is 10 to 25 nanometer. It is strong, relatively rigid, and elastic nature is also there, and pores are also present inside the cell wall that are freely permeable to the solute molecule smaller than 10 kilodalton. If the solute particles are smaller than 10 kilodalton, then they can easily pass through the cell wall. Okay, so cell wall. If you see inside the electron microscope, this is cell wall. This is cytoplasmic membrane, which we have discussed previously, and this is cell wall. Above to the cell membrane, cell wall is present. So this is the electron micrograph of a thin section of gram-positive M lysoticus, showing the thick peptidoglycan cell wall underlying the cytoplasmic plasma membrane. Mesosomes are also there, and nucleide is also present. So M is the mesosome and nucleide is the N. N is the nucleide. So this is the electron picture of electron micrography picture of cell wall. According to the cell wall, bacteria are classified into gram-negative as well as gram-positive bacteria. According to staining techniques, gram staining technique, if we will use the gram stain, then first we have to fix the bacteria, then crystal violet stain is applied. After crystal violet stain, iodine treatment will be there, then decolorization step is there, and then counter stain will be there with the help of some safranin dyes. So in case of gram positive, the bacterial cell will have a cell wall of high thickness. So according to that, they acquire the crystal violet stain, and after the destaining step, they do not acquire the other safranin stain because of the thickness of gram positive cell wall. So they only acquire the crystal violet stain, and due to the gram negative cell wall is thin in peptidoglycan layer, which firstly acquire the crystal violet color, and after the de-staining stage, they again acquire the safranin color. Safranin is in pink color and crystal violet is in violet color. So after this gram staining, we can see the gram positive in a violet color and gram negative in a pink color. So if we see the detailed structure of gram negative and gram positive cell wall, then both of the cell wall have a different composition. According to that, they acquire different color inside the gram staining. Okay, so in the next class, we will see the detailed structure of gram staining process as well as uh, detailed composition of cell wall.